A call from Little Rock, from George Stephanopoulos.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Go ahead. He is Governor Clinton's campaign manager. This is an open phone session. He dialed in directly. It wasn't any secret number. Go ahead, George.
Mr. President, you asked us to find out what the smoking gun was. Yeah. What this memo clearly shows, this memo by the Secretary of Defense, Caspar Weinberger, is that on January 7th, 1986, and let me quote from the memo, the President decided to go with an Israeli-Iranian offer to release our 5 hostages in return for sale of 4,000 tows to Iran by Israel. In other words, that it was clearly an explicit deal of arms for hostages. But on January 8th, 1988, you said it was not arms for hostages. You sensed that we were sending arms, and you sensed that we were trying to get the hostages out, but that it was clearly not arms for hostages. And for this last 5 years, you have consistently said that it was not arms for hostages. And this memo clearly shows that it was indeed arms for hostages. 5 hostages in return for the sale of 4,000 tow missiles, and that you knew it then, according to Mr. Weinberger.
May I reply? Now, let me tell you, now, Mr. Stephanopoulos, very able young man, was the floor director or something for Mr. Gephardt, who was the majority leader of the Democrats, of the House of Representatives under the Democrats. That's his background. It is the Democrats who have been pushing to the tune of some $40 million these hearings. I would simply refer him to this testimony that pretty much says what he's just said. However, to this very day, President Reagan didn't feel that that arrangement was arms for hostages. I said I supported the President of the United States. I have testified to that. And George, if I might make a little political observation here, because I keep reading you're getting into our stories all the time, I think this is rather desperation, last-minute politics when you feel something slipping away from you. And you're too smart for that. You're too smart.
Hold it.
You ought to use it.
Hold it. George.
Yes. Well,
Want to respond?
All I would say in response
was...
was...
to debate Stephanopoulos. I'm not debating you, Larry. Come on. Thanks a little guy.
Let him respond and you respond. George?
All I would say is that it says quite clearly in the memo, 5 hostages in return for the sale of 4,000 tows to Iran by Israel. How could you not know that it was arms for hostages?
May I refer you to the wonderful sleuthing done by the United States Congress, costing the taxpayers millions of dollars, where the accurate records are reflected here. And if that was Caspar Weinberger's opinion, fine. Go ask President Reagan if he thought it was arms for hostages. Same transaction, and he'd say no.
But if 4,000 tows are going in return for 5 hostages, what else could it be?
Larry, please read the testimony. There was kind of trying to work with moderates. They weren't dealing with the people who had the hostages. There's a whole history that this poor guy is trying to resurrect 4 days before the election. It's wonderful how his call gets in this random call. A woman from Belgium, one from Switzerland. It's perfectly all right.
We don't have a private number. We really don't. I don't control the call.
I mean, he's a patient fella. I'll tell you something about Stephanopoulos, a very patient fella, and he does what they call a reaction squad. And every time we'd say something, he was out there with and they did a very good job on it. So I would like to take this opportunity, because I might not have a chance to see him before the election, to commend him on all that, but he ought to go home and do his homework and read all the testimony, and not just desperately, before an election, try to reopen things that have been heard and heard and heard by a grand jury, by a prosecutor, by the Congress, and by the Tower Commission.
We'll be right back with President George Bush on Larry King Live after this.